Hello, everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine, right here in the city of Memphis. It's in the county 7, it's in the state of Tennessee. And today's date is Sunday afternoon, November the 16th, 2025, time 3:30 p.m. First, I thank my family, my support for you, continue to encourage support. I'm continuing to keep myself employed in Memphis, Tri-State area, continue to further my education in more cars online. I'm continuing to further my education by continuing to pursue my associate degree, studying business administration, contract and marketing. At the present time, I took a break from going to school. In the future, I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to continue to work on earning my associate degree in business administration, contract and marketing, as well as other degrees. Now, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to start my Facebook Live. Oh, there we go. Hello, everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine, right here in the city of Memphis, in the county 7, state of Tennessee. Today's date, Sunday afternoon, November the 16th, 2025, time 3:32 p.m. First, say thank you to my family, my support for you, continue to support, continue to keep myself employed in Memphis, Tri-State area, and continue to further my education by continuing to study, work on trying to earn my associate degree in business administration, contract and marketing. At the present time, I took a break from going to school, but in the future, I'm gonna go back to school and I'm gonna continue to work toward earning my associate degree in business administration, contract and marketing, as well as other degrees. Now, first I want to say thank you to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, for all the blessings and the guidance He provides us all with. And continue to pray to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, about these natural disasters, because that's exactly what they are. Disasters that happen naturally, and they are disasters. And we really need my Lord, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ really need to help us with these natural disasters, because we can't do it by ourselves. And so we need my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, to help us with these natural disasters. Continue to pray about wars that are being fought on this earth, on this globe, on this planet, and that it be peace. And pray for peace. Now, on today's video, I want to first say this. This is my birthday weekend, because actually my birthday is, tomorrow, Monday, November the 17th is my birthday. So this birthday weekend, do some things today that I wanted to do. So I already, talked about narcissism. And, we're going to continue to expose that nonsense, that ignorance, and because that's what it is. Straight to the point. All that is some ignorance. You know what I'm saying? Ignorant. Only an ignorant person would even think that means anything. A piece of paper. There's some heretics wrote. I mean, you have to be pretty stupid. I mean, you just have to be honest, man. You have to be a pretty stupid person not to see what the PhD in all these colleges and universities all over the world are telling you. First of all, they don't know the exact origin of Gnosticism. Meaning, they can't really say who the prophet was or who, all that, or what, all that. Exact what, they can pretty much say around this region or that region, this ignorance, for some apparent reason, had started being talked about. And so and then when they identify, when you start noticing, when you start seeing the people around this region, like around the Mediterranean, because basically that's around that region, around the Mediterranean region, you start looking at the people. I mean, you got Afro-Asiatics and Indo-Europeans. Possibly may or not have been, just being on the continent of Africa and being close to the Nilo-Saharans and being close to Afro-Asiatic. It's possible you may have had some Niger Congo, just moving around, but Afro-Asiatics and Indo-Europeans. So when it comes to the exact origin of Gnosticism, the PhDs in all these colleges and universities around the world, they, like they say, we don't know the exact origin, because they can't say like at this period of time, like this and that, and we don't exactly, like what is so-called information exactly. It's all this kind of jumbled up junk that they accumulated from all these different other beliefs and faiths. So the exact origin of Gnosticism. But, you could say, like, just like them pieces of paper, the Askew Codex, the Berlin Codex, the Bruce Codex, the handwriting. The handwriting, because you have to take it serious. You have to actually say, okay, if you write something, who you writing it to, and why are you writing this, and why is it written in this way? You can't just look at the handwriting and just take it like, oh, it don't mean. No, it does mean something. Who you writing it to? Who you? And is anybody gonna be able to read the handwriting? Comprehend what you saying in this, and all this stuff about, not just the Askew Codex, the Berlin Codex, and the Bruce Codex, but also this Nagama Library. Okay, you want to write something. Okay, the handwriting. Yeah, the handwriting. Who gonna read it? Who you writing it to? You claim there's supposed to be some kind of one supreme being, and then there's another one deity up under that one supreme being. But that one that's up under that one supreme being is ignorant and clumsy and wherever you got that nonsense from, man. And you call that deity demiurge. Do you honestly think the PhD don't know where they heard demiurge from? in Plato's book. Plato wrote a book. That's the only other place that you hear demiurge. You know, that's the only other place you hear demiurge. That's the only other place you hear demiurge. And then, not just that, but the handwriting is serious. That's serious. Because like I said, you take the handwriting, so who are you writing to? The people going to be able to comprehend what you write? You just can't. And then you talking about this one supreme being, then this one deity. You know, that's some serious stuff, man. That's serious. That's serious. And then the language that you speak. See, when you once you write it, and then you give the people gonna want you to come. You know, they gonna want you to, okay, you give me this piece of paper now. Give me your explain this. So now you got to open your mouth and start talking. See, this is what the problem going. You know, that's gonna be a problem. First you doing this writing. Then okay. Apparently you want other people to read. You know, read your. Then when they read, okay, now what do this stuff mean? So now you're gonna have to explain to the people. Now you're gonna open your mouth. There again. Who are you talking to? Who you talking to? And who you not talking to? You know, you make it sound like, nah. And this was it the spirit, talking about the divine spark, and like I said last on my previous video, that ain't nothing new. Talking about some spirits, that ain't nothing new. Nothing new. Because all that stuff about spirits, you know and I know, that goes all the way back to animism, shamanism. So when you come into this, talking about this Gnostic mess, that polytheists not going to agree with you saying that there's one supreme God and this one supreme deity. See? So, I mean, you know, all you doing is lying. Get straight to the point. It's a lie. See, you took information. Just like when you be talking about this Askew Codex, Berlin Codex, Bruce Codex, you start talking about Jesus, and you start talking about the Old Testament, and you start talking about, you know, all this kind of stuff. And then the Catholic Church, the Church Fathers, they was around. And when they seeing people, they identify people as being, they identify as being Jews, and you teaching this Gnostic foolishness. Well, see, when the Catholic Church Fathers identify you as being a Jew, they knew you wasn't, they knew you as a Jew. And as being a Jew, they know who you are. And when they see you, they identifying you as the person that's teaching this Gnostic. Well, instead of you being in a synagogue like you were, for some apparent reason, you are, some heretic and, teaching something other than Judaism. Teaching something other than Judaism. So, that's a serious thing. That's serious. That's very serious. You see what I'm saying? It's very serious. And that you are taking information from Judaism. And that's the same thing about this handwriting and when you talk. When the church father hear you talking and you claim you teaching this Gnostic, that's one of the things that you have to pay attention to. That the church fathers, they identify you being Jew, and then they hear hear your voice, and then they hear this language that you're speaking. And then they hear the things that you're saying. You know what I'm saying? See, don't take that the church father identify you as being a Jew. You should take it serious. Because this handwriting and this language that you speak, it's not something that you negate. You take it just the way you're supposed to. You're supposed to take it the same. When the church father identified you as being a Jew, they knew you as a Jew. You ain't always been a teacher of Gnosticism. That's what it means. Because it ain't always been what you call Gnosticism. So when the church father identify you, a person or persons, as being a Jew, they didn't say it was a polytheist. The church father did not say that it was a polytheist or some polytheists. They specifically said that the church fathers, they identified the teachers of Gnosticism as being Jewish. They ain't say it was a Buddhist or a Hindu. They said they knew who these people they identified. They said they were some Jews. Some people that we knew. Including some of the rabbis. So when the PhD said, look, man, we can't exactly say the origin of Gnosticism. However, that's what they say about a Jewish Milu. That for some apparent reason, around a certain area, a certain region, certain people was identified as being Jewish. The culture, the customs around that area, around that region was Jewish. It wasn't always no Gnosticism. See, this is how you have to pay attention what the PhD tell you. That there was a certain time, it wasn't none of this teaching no Gnosticism in this Jewish area, in this Jewish culture. The culture and the customs of the people in that area, around that region, was a Jewish culture, a Jewish custom. Including the people who weren't so faithful. But being that they was in that area, still the culture and the custom in that area, in that region, was a Jewish culture, a Jewish custom. And so that's pretty, that's serious. And so you had to pay attention. You had to take it like the church fathers said. When they said, hey, we see, we identify, and the people who was teaching in these Gnostic schools, they were Jewish. It ain't always been that way. That's what they tell you. Because the church fathers would have said something about that too. They would have said, hey, this been going on for a long period. No, they didn't say that. There was a certain period of time that this stuff started being some kind of influence. And at that period of time, when it started being an influence, the church father was like, the people that we looking at, we knew these people, and we know these people. They were Jews. They were Jewish. See, that's the reason why the church father be telling you about this. That's the reason why that Gnostic text, when the church father be talking about the handwriting, and when you speak, the church father say these people are Jewish. I know, because they ain't listening. They can visualize, they can see you, but they also can hear you. They can also hear you. Because the language you speaking. You speaking Hebrew. And you may possibly be speaking Greek or Roman, because the Greeks and the Romans had conquered the original inhabitants, the Afro-Asiatics. The Egyptians had been conquered by the Greeks and the Romans. First by the Greeks, then the Romans conquered the Greeks, and in the process of conquering the Greeks, they conquered those people. Egypt, Libya, all that whole area, that whole North African area came under Roman domination. You can walk around even today. It was so much of an influence of the Roman. You can see the architecture in North Africa. Some of the architecture is still there today, from the Roman period today, all over North Africa, from Morocco, from Mauritania, all the way over to Egypt. The Romans didn't just conquer; they conquered and began to live in North Africa. That's the reason why the architecture is still there today in North Africa. We're going to continue to talk about prehistoric religion, traditional, ancient African religion, indefinitely, including all the branches of science, including the fields of science, including engineering and medicine. So, like I said, this is my birthday weekend, but I just want to make sure that we still on the same, because that's a very serious thing to me. To me, I ain't been lying the whole time. There's people who've been going around lying, and people who didn't know what they was talking about, and all this stuff about a gang and mob and all that. A lot of people just illiterate, uneducated, miseducated, and undereducated. And so when it comes, going around lying about information that you don't even know about. And I'm pretty glad that I took the time. I used my time to educate and inform myself about these lies. Because I see that you're really stupid. You're really stupid. Look, I don't give no man no credit for volunteering to be gay, for some woman to be a lesbian, volunteering, want to lie, want to use narcissism as a way for you to go around being a lesbian or gay or bisexual or what's this other junk? This transgender, transsexual. You volunteer. Man, I ain't finna volunteer, I'm a heterosexual man, and I'm be glad to be a heterosexual. All the women, I had to repent, but I like women. I'm straight to the point. No beating around the bush. I like women. No, I ain't. No. No way. No, I ain't interested. No. You need to read your Bible. You need to read your Holy Bible. You need to read your Bible. And read with understanding. Like I said, this is my birthday weekend, and I've been so far, because Friday, I'm just gonna be honest. I was intending on trying to be off on Friday, but I couldn't get off on Friday. But my birthday on Monday, I took them PTO days. I will not be going to work tomorrow. I was not going. No. This is my birthday weekend. It don't fall like that all the time. Where I get a Saturday and a Sunday. Then either that Friday or that Monday. So, enjoy my birthday. And so, but like I said, that Nazi mess, man, ain't nothing but a lie. And when it comes to all that gang and all that, all that mob and all that mess, a lot of people didn't know what they were talking about in the past. It's just, so, conservative vice lords in Chicago don't have to worry about no gangster disciple, no black gangster new breed. As you can see, you just ignorant. Straight to the point. You just ignorant. Yellow Pepper Perry is real and true. It's wrong what they done. And talking about some Egyptian cobras, that's the same thing. Yellow Pepper Perry is real and true. See, you've been going around lying the whole time. And when it comes to the Black Princeton, see, this was Jeff Fort. You had people doing things, and this so-called, what's his name, Eugene Bull Harrison, talking about his family moved from Ohio. See, when you say things to people, and when you look at people, you do things for the wrong reason. You do stuff for the wrong reason. You got people walking around thinking they think they got some kind of information and think you gonna use that information like that's gonna give you some kind of influence, some kind of power. You just ignorant. You just dumb. That's all there is to it. The same thing to Black Disciple. King David Bosdale and the rest of the guys who started the Black Disciple, Longstreet and all them. And then you got this stupid nigga up in the jail. Man, nigga, you ain't nobody. ain't nobody. And then the same thing out there in Los Angeles, California. Some damn dumbass niggas down here in the South, from Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Texas, went out there to Los Angeles, California. See, you have to see some of these people after World War II. See, segregation was still segregation. Jim Crow was still Jim Crow. Even out there. Even in Los Angeles, California. Jim Crow segregation was still Jim Crow. Segregation was still segregation. When you start talking about the civil rights movement, people starting to stand up for civil rights and human rights. But a lot of people, a lot of black men were being drafted after World War II. The Korean War. After the Korean War, Vietnam. A lot of black men, they either, when they got drafted, they either got killed. Some came back injured, wounded. Some have, suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, mental health problems, as well as drug addiction. And the ones who did succumb to things like that. But you talking about a gang, as you can see, a lot of people got killed in Los Angeles, California. When you identify them damn niggas and them damn hoes who came from down here, you'll see there ain't nobody. That damn Nazis, Nagamon Library and all that, Askew Codex and Berlin Codex and Bruce Codex, you ain't nobody. You just dumb. Straight to the point. You just some dumbass niggas. Straight to the point. That's what I keep telling conservative vice lords. These damn people ain't no damn body. Just some dumbass niggas. Straight to the point. Ain't no need sugarcoating nothing. Just tell the truth. Just some dumbass niggas. Including you damn hoes. You just dumb. Talking about a damn piece of paper. That's what I keep trying to look at you and I be like, how the hell somebody put a piece of paper in front of you? And your dumb ass ain't got sense enough to break it down and you still don't see it. That is wrong. You just dumb. Put a piece of paper in front of you and your dumb ass still don't know. The Catholic Church is right. Like I said, man, this is my birthday weekend. And so, I'm gonna celebrate my birthday. But part of my birthday, I ain't finna, let nobody do nothing like that behind my back. Now I'm not content with having to do, but I do things because I know I don't let nothing like that happen. I don't let nobody do nothing like that. No. Like I always say, it ain't no damn body walking around. No, had that opinion of me. No. What time is it? Yeah. But like I said, man, this birthday weekend and, things I want to do, I'm still going to do. And no, lying ain't going to get you lying gonna get you killed. That's what I'm making sure is to kill your damn bitch ass. Like them bitches on the East Coast. Now, you may have thought you had got away. Like I always show conservative vice laws. See, years ago, that was what I was doing. Making sure your damn ass don't get away. And you didn't. See, when you do things and when you see, you ain't see what, like I tell you, you didn't see what I was intentionally doing. I was intentionally trying to send you out. Because you ain't talking about nothing. I was intentionally trying, and I'm still making sure that your dumb ass don't never, ever have nothing to brag about. Because you don't. You ain't got nothing to brag about. Because when I'm walking around, I always show conservative vice law what I've been doing the whole time. Setting your ass up. Because you ain't talking about a damn thing. You just dumb. You just some dumb ass niggas. The Askew Codex, the Berlin Codex, the Bruce Codex, the Nehemiah Library, and then you know what I noticed? You had the dumb ass nerd. I was just sitting there. I was like, you know what? The Dead Sea Scroll. Don't you know this damn dummy had the nerve to... You really are dumb. You had the nerve to try to overlook, try to disregard the Dead Sea Scrolls as if the Dead Sea Scrolls ain't nothing. That's the Old Testament. You dumb. If it's anything you should have been doing, your dumb ass should have been paying attention to the Old Testament. You should have been paying attention to the Old Testament. Because when you talk about Jesus, you talk about Christ, the Messiah, the Jews. See, that's one thing you can't never do. You can't never negate the Old Testament. You can't do that. But that's what your dumb ass did. That's why your ass in the position you're in now. Your ass gonna get killed. See? Got time. Got all the time you need. Got all the time. So, you see, in your way of thinking, you thought that you had got away and that you was getting away. My point of view, my way of thinking, first of all, I wasn't finna let you do a damn thing like that. No. Not me. And that's what I've been doing. Not letting your ass get away. Making sure it be payback. Make sure. Payback. Get your dumb ass back. Oh, it's going to be payback. It's going to be payback. Gnosticism. I don't, conservative vice law ain't got to even worry about it. It ain't nothing to even worry about. But like I said, man, trying to lie, you don't get away with it. But this is my birthday weekend. So, all the things I've been working on, I'm still going to accomplish what I want to accomplish. I'm going to achieve what I want to achieve. I wasn't finna never let nobody get away with lying. No. But in the process, in talking about that, I'm still working on my idea and everything, and this will be why I want to make sure when it comes to my birthday weekend, gonna continue, because it never was, and it isn't my intention just to be, I got other things I want to do in life. But it's a lot of things. Back today being Sunday. Like I said last week on my previous video that I made. Here in Shelby County, we got a lot of radio stations, we got a lot of TV stations. WDIA. Sunday, gospel music and church services. Pretty much all day on Sunday. Because on Saturday, one thing WDIA do on Saturday from when Friday night comes, I think it might be at 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 a.m. I don't think Friday night. It might be 12, because early Saturday morning, 12. But all day blues on WDI all day, from like 6 in the morning all the way to 12 midnight. But it be blues all day. As well as they throw a little soul, because sometimes you can't tell blues from soul and soul from blues. Sometimes it be the same artist. Sometimes it be the same artist. It might be blues, and it might sound like some soul, but WDI, on Sunday, Saturday and Sunday, blues on Saturday, and then Sunday it's all day gospel and church service, and then you got WLOK 1340. Well, I mean WLOK because they got a FM station. Cause what is what's the FM? Yeah, on FM is 105. See but it's still the same WLOK. But see on FM it's 105. But then on AM that's when it's 1340. But see, that's another thing. See, when they started out, it was WLOK on the AM, and it started out at 1340. That's how I remember. Because like I said, when they started out, WLOK, it was 1340. It was an AM station. Then they later on, as the business grew, they was able, to move to where they can get an FM station, and it was 105. And of course, WLOK is 7 days a week, gospel music. Now when Sunday comes, it's still gospel music, but they have church service too. Then during the weekday they might have church service, Bible study or whatever. Now when it comes, you got V101. They do have gospel music on Sunday morning to a certain point, but still they still have gospel music till around about 10 or 11, But they got a sister station. That Hollywood station is 95.7. That's 7 days a week. 7 days a week. 95.7 Hallelujah. It's 7 days a week. Gospel music. There's a possibility they might have church service. But I think on Sunday they have church service. Hallelujah. They might, some of the churches around here might got a spot. And then 103.5 WRBO, they have gospel, gospel music. They might possibly have a church service, here or there on Sunday, but I know they have gospel music, And then 87.7 right on radio, that's the station they be doing the classic R&B and soul. And on Sunday though, they do Sunday mornings. They do have gospel music. When you have that many that much gospel music and church service, you know, there's a lot of people that's listening to, you know, the ratings, you know. And so, you know, that's just radio, you know. Like I said, it's a lot of radio stations, you know, AM and FM. Because, see, like I said, some of these churches in the area, let me say this, there's a lot of churches in this area on AM and FM, you know, they can, you know, they get a slot, you know, they church, you know, someone, you know, they get some kind of, you know, not just on those stations that I just talked, but you know they'll get their own, you know, they'll get some kind of AM station or FM station, so they can broadcast their, you know, their church, you know, program, you know, and then that's not leaving out television, you know, there's a lot of churches in there, like I said, a lot of churches in the area. You know, you got Catholic churches in this area. You got Roman Catholic Church. You got Eastern Orthodox. You can go online, you know, and you'll see you got Roman Catholic churches, and you do have Eastern Orthodox, but you also have Oriental Orthodox Church in this area. And all these Protestant churches, you know, sometimes you can turn the TV on Sunday, and you might see, you know, a church service, you know, and not just on the locals, you know, like the major networks, but now we got this streaming and cable. Sometimes like churches be on you know, television too, you know. But I mean, you know, people support it, you know, in this area people support, you know. And so, which I'm glad, because that's the reason why I'm glad, because when we be talking about this Gnostic mess, I'd be glad that we got houses of worship, and because, especially the Catholic Church, because talking about some syncretizing and eclectic, you can't get away with that. Talking about some syncretizing and talking about eclectic, you can't get away with that. You can't get away with it. No, you can't do that. And so, you know, like I said, you know, I'm glad that, you know, on that issue, that the Catholic Church is in this area. Because when you talking about some syncretizing and the other eclectic, that's what I'm glad about, that the Catholic Church is in this area. I really am. But when it comes to, you know, like radio stations, music and everything, I caught this week, I just happened to catch an interview, and I wanted to make sure I said something about it on today's video, because when I started out this year, I'm gonna go back to at the very beginning of this year when I was talking about my idea about you know, music ensemble and everything, and one of the things that, you know, people did things in the past, and they still do things today. But I'm gonna get to what Prince Rogers Nelson, you know, Prince. Everybody know, you know, he has passed away. But you familiar with Prince Rogers Nelson, the artist known as Prince. He did an interview, and just so happened I just so happened to was online. You know how you be online, and this interview that he did was really an interview about what I was talking about, sampling. It was about sampling other people's music. And just so happened, Prince Roger Nelson was doing an interview, and that's what he was talking about, how people were sampling other people's music. And so, like, at the beginning of the year, like I said, that's a whack thing, you know. But Because and what I'm saying is that when people do things, you can't always think people do things because they have like respect. People do things for various reasons, but one of the reasons why people do things because they just, they out for themselves and they don't give a damn about anybody else. A lot of people did things and they ain't never even met nobody, but they just took what other people did and just used it. They ain't really just listened to the music, but they took it and then they used it. And then and then they get some kind of benefit out of it, some kind of financial gain out of it. But like that old saying, like this thing that's been talked about for a lot of black men and women who were entertainers. A lot of men, they got robbed. The white people stole their money. Literally stole their money. They didn't get paid for the music they made. And many black men and women tried to go to court to try to get the money that was owed to them. A lot of people didn't get the money that was owed to them. A few may have got paid, but a lot of men and women, they didn't get, what was owed to them. And then to hear somebody take the music that they made, their creative genius, and then for you to take it, and for you to try to get some kind of financial gain, and not even thinking about what other people did to try to steal and try to rob these black men and women. It's to steal their music. And then pay themselves with it. And so, like I said, just so happened to be online, and Prince Roger Nelson, the artist known as Prince, he had gave an interview. And in the interview, he was talking about how people were sampling other people's music. And that they were sampling other people's music to the point where it was so much sampling that you couldn't even get to the original music no more, because it was just so much sampling. And then I thought about it. I said, when Prince did his interview, it was like late 80s, maybe early 90s, because I can look at him and see, he was a little bit older. This one no interview like when he was like, when he first came out, But there was one of those interviews where he had, made a name for himself and, been around for some years and pretty successful. And so, like I said, he was giving an interview, and that's what he was saying about sampling. That it was so much, people were sampling other people's music to the point it was so much sampling going on that you couldn't even tell what the original music was. It was just sampling. Then some people would sample other people's music, then somebody else would sample that. It was just so much sampling going on. And so that I was like, man, that's whack. That's whack. To take other people's music. Because see, you don't think about how a lot of men and women, where they came from, and when they, just like blues or soul, a lot of people that came from poverty. And, they were just trying to, feed themselves, literally trying to feed themselves. Put food on their table, clothes back, roof over their head, And just, but, and, to have talent, to have talent, and then to have somebody to take the talent that you have and cheat you out your money. And then when you try to go to court, and then you get cheated again. Like I said, it's only a few that can really say that when they went to court, they actually got what was owed to them. That's whack. But like I said, this is my birthday weekend. And so tomorrow, my birthday really is Monday, November the 17th. And so I'm going to celebrate my birthday, and I'm going to enjoy it. So far, I've been enjoying my birthday. I'm going to be off from work tomorrow, and the day after that. But enjoy my birthday, man. And, like I said, when I wanted to do my video today, I want to make sure that when I be working on something, like this idea I had, I want to, from this point on, this is what I'm trying to do, is to make sure I don't let nobody get away with lying like that. But you're not going to stand in my way. You're not going to stand in my way. Not like that, no. No. In no shape, form, fashion, no. But when it comes to, all that sampling and, sometimes, feel like, being insulted, because sometimes you have to look at the people and you have to ask, the people's opinion of other people. Because, see, I don't have that opinion. I think a lot of people had talent, and like I said, you got cheated. And because you did that to them, you be walking around thinking you can do it to me. As far as I'm concerned, that's still another way you be cheating other people. Is when you don't even acknowledge or recognize the people who did something, and then you take what they did, and you doing the same thing, trying to use so you can give yourself some kind of money. And then there's another thing. That's another point, is when people be saying things like blues and soul. I remember when I growed up, and that's a good point to bring up, is about what people like and don't like. Is when you hear people make music just like R&B and still soul, and then all of a sudden came like hip hop, and all of a sudden, like, you don't like R&B, or you don't like soul, or you don't like blues, but then you wanna sample other people's music, but you don't like it. See, that's the reason why. That's another reason why I do the things I do. See, just like when I was growing up, it ain't always been like it, Hot 107. It ain't always been no K97. It ain't always been no 103.5, WRBO. It ain't, and now we got a 87.7 that's, classics, R&B, and soul music, including blues. But you don't like. See, that's a good point to bring up. That's another reason I was talking about it, because it was whack. from my point of view, because I remember when I was growing up, and when you had WDIA, and then some of the music they played, just like a lot of disco. I can name some of these songs, and see, this is the reason why. I can remember, because sometimes I'd be listening to 87.7, and I can remember when I was a little kid, when you talk about funk music. And I remember when I was a little kid, and it was like in the 70s. And when I actually, one like 5 years old, I'm talking about when I can actually remember when you get 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, And so, talking about the 70s, when the music, when you think of like disco, and when I hear it, sometimes I'd be reminded, and sometimes I'd be reminded when I was a kid, because it ain't always been no K97. That's what I'm saying. Because they play different music. That's the music that's the music they started playing. Because WDIA was mostly blues and soul, and then the 70s came along, like disco. It ain't always been no funk. It ain't always been no funk music. But when disco came around, like early, like late 60s and early 70s, But disco, people dance. But the music, because when you hear it, shake your groove thing, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm talking about? Peaches and Herb, you know what I'm saying? Disco. Donna Summer, disco. She worked hard for the money. I remember that. That was like, I think Donna Summer made what? 70, late 70s. But it's a lot of, a lot of music. Before you jump onto funk music, you got to remember disco, was a very influential, because people like to dance. And the music, there's a lot of music that you wouldn't even think, sometimes I be, just like I say, sometimes I be listening to 87.7 classic R&B and soul. And sometimes a disco song come on and they'll say something because that's the era, that's the time period. But the music, and then I be saying to myself, I be like, when I was a kid, when you turn the radio on, it ain't like you had this big selection. And so when you say you like something or don't like something, that's just like, saying like I didn't listen to WDI. But I did listen to WDI because a lot of the soul music, as well as the blues music, But I ain't gonna say I didn't like it. It was just some more music came, like disco music came. And then you had funk music came along. That's when K97 really started, started really just being a radio station that, you kind of, for me, started listening. But that don't mean that I still didn't listen to WDIA, Because I did, the blues music was still, and the soul music. But like I said, when it comes to disco, and disco can sound, like disco, but you like to dance. So for me, when I growed up, that's, the music, and then funk music came along, But that's what I'm saying. So what you talking about, you don't like something, as well as R&B, R&B, just like, Earth, Wind, and Fire. When they came, and, a lot, think about it, the Barcades been around ever since, because they had that plane crash. A lot of the original members of the Barcades died in a plane crash, and maybe one on the plane, the original member, you know what I'm saying? But when you say you don't like something, that's the reason why when you say, you know, I be like, I can't really just say, you know what I'm saying? Because I like, you know, I like to dance, first of all. So sometimes when I hear something, I be like, man, because it brings back memories. And it don't be bad memories, it be good memories. Because when I think about my childhood, when I was a kid, I used to have a lot of fun. I used to, you know, have a lot of fun listening to the radio and a lot of disco music. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I can hear something, just like what's that group Chick, you know, and all these other groups. You know, we growed up on disco and, you know, dancing, you know, and things like that, you know. And so I can't really just say I don't like disco. I can't say that. I can't say I don't like disco because when I growed up, I enjoyed, you know what I'm saying? The music. It's just like funk music or just R&B or soul. I can't say I don't like it. I could never say that. You know, it's just like gospel music. Some people have the attitude that they don't like something, even gospel music. If you was riding in the car, I'm gonna give everybody an example. Just listen. I'm gonna ride in the car with somebody. Just ride in the car with somebody and put the radio station on gospel music, and then you will notice the reaction. You know what I'm saying? You'll notice the reaction you get. But that's, you know, it's almost like this. I just say, here it is. I'm in Shelby County. I'd say like K97 today. You got hip hop, and we got Hot 107, the true hip hop station. So let's just say you was riding in the car, and while you riding in the car, some young people, the young people sitting in the car on their way to school, and they got the radio station on Hot 107. Well, I tell you what, change the radio station, put it on gospel. Wait a minute, what? What's that? You know, what's that? I don't listen to that. I don't. You know. But see, like I said, in my house, in this household, I can honestly say, I could never say that either. And you know, well, I got mom and dad's picture. I got my mom, but no, that's the reason why. Not in this house. Not in this house. Because I'm telling you, just like the radio station on Sunday morning. Sunday morning, gospel music. You know, so like I said, on Sunday morning, hey, going to church, and talking about gospel music, hey, so I can, you know, the soul stirrer. Where did I learn the soul stirrer? From mom and dad. So that's what I'm saying. See, so when you be talking about what you like and don't like when it comes to music, that's the reason why I be like, I can't, you know what I'm saying? I get where you coming from. I can, you know, pretty much, you know, just like when you say, you know, music, and you get used to, you know, you so used to listening to, like, you done got into the hip hop thing. It's just like, I'm gonna give you another example. Jazz music. I'm finna give you another example. I'm finna put myself in this position. Jazz music. If I was riding in the car, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest with everybody. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna give you an example. Jazz music. I'm gonna give you an example. Okay? look, it ain't always been. I can't really just say a jazz music station. I'm gonna be honest. I'm being honest. I'm raising my hand. I'm being honest. I'm being honest with everybody. Here, can you Eric, name one jazz? Name one. Name one jazz radio station. Can I call somebody? I can't. I can't name not one. I ain't gonna say it's not a jazz music station. You know what I'm saying? But I just can't name one. I'm being honest. I'm gonna raise my hand. Is there anybody? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and raise my hand. But that don't mean I don't like jazz music. It's just other music. Based on the ratings, I can just say, hey, when it comes to the ratings, the listening audience, that's the reason why. That's the reason why. So I'm being honest. But that don't mean I don't like jazz. That don't mean I don't like jazz. It just means, you so accustomed to, even the hip hop now has got, but still a lot of times I don't even listen to hip hop, because I'm still, I still like the other, I like R&B. And so I like to sing. That's my persona. But I do that too. I say this. When it comes to rap or, hip hop, I'm one of them type of people, it's like you do that too. But it's not like that's my main thing. That's the point I want to make. You know what I'm saying? Me, that because that's what, what I'm saying? When it comes to R&B, like R&B soul, even gospel, I take gospel. But what it means to me is that you sing. So for me, that's what I like. Blues, I like to sing. Father, I can sing. I'm gonna be honest. Before I got sick, because I got sick, and I had, they had to put a trach. They had to put a trach in my throat to save my life. Basically, to save my life. You know what I'm saying? To save my life, because I got sick. And thank Jesus for blessing me to overcome my illness. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't been no remission or anything. But like I said, like a lot of people, these autoimmune disease, these neurological illnesses. It's so many neurological illnesses that a whole lot of people, myself as well as others, I done pretty much, I'm able to live a normal, what we call a normal life. But at the very beginning, it was, sometimes when you get hit with something, you don't expect it, and that's how it really was, because I really didn't. Some of the symptoms and everything, I didn't have an idea or a clue of exactly what was going on. And then eventually, eventually later, being diagnosed with a neurological, some kind of neurological ailment, and then had to get treated for it, and it took some time, but eventually. But what I was finna say is this about singing. No, I'm being honest. I don't want nobody to look at me and have that funny look on their face like, oh man, because I got this microphone and you'll swear up but there was a time when, what I'm saying, when it comes to singing, on that, you'll swear up and down, it was, like Prince Ross and Nails or something, or one of Philip Babe or something, because just listen to the radio, and then I do the same thing. And I did. whatever somebody was doing, I do the same thing. That's the point I want to make. So, like a falsetto, it kind of, but still, still had that ability to sing, but it's a little, but I think what happened is, had an effect, because after I had the surgery, they had to save my life, had to do some life-saving stuff, but I'm thankful for that. But what I was saying is that singing, when it comes like singing, before, I had to have surgery and stuff like that before I got ill. That was one of the things that I used to do. Listen to the radio, is that you listen to people, just like, I'm being honest, just like just like when you hear switch on the radio, or you, like I said, you'll hear Prince Roger Nelson, and I just do the same thing, even that Earth, Wind and Fire, that was me. I wasn't no thing to me. I did the same thing, but it just, at that time, it's just, my life was, wasn't, but it was just listen to the radio. But when you listen to the radio, like any and everybody else, we get motivated. We get motivation. Just like today we here in Shelby County, we got Power 104.1, the source, and they do Southern Soul, blues and R&B, and you get motivated. You get motivated. Ain't gonna say I can't sing. I ain't gonna say I can't do a falsetto. Just can't. If I do my own thing, then that's what I do. Don't try to do what other people do. That's what I do today. Don't try to do what other people do. Do what you can do. And you can still do what you can do, and it's still the same thing. Just don't try to do what other people do. Because there was a time when I did, but that was like that old saying, that was then, this is now. But but like don't when it comes to what you like and don't like, that's the point I was making. When it just like somebody like me, I couldn't never say that I, what I'm saying. That's the reason why, because when I growed up, and everybody don't live in the same location. When I growed up, and when it comes to listening to the radio, it ain't always been for us. Let's just say this, just like television stations. For us, it's being a black / African American. When it comes to the radio station, that's the program is directed. Is African American, black African American. And so when you hear the music on WDIA, then it really wasn't no other stations. And then later on in the 70s came K97, because the music, just like disco and funk, R&B, soul, the music, I guess you could say the style, R&B and but that's the reason why I was like, sometimes when I listen to 87.7 right on radio, sometimes I listen because when I was a child, it brings back good memories. I don't have bad memories, because when it comes to dancing, a little kid, that's the memories I have. I don't have bad memories, I have good memories. Just like when it comes to funk music, I remember I had good memories. I remember that song Flashlight, or when the Ohio players, when you hear fire, dum dum dum, fire, I mean, when when I was a kid, that's when I started, like on K97. You start hearing things like that, and then you know what I'm saying. But when I growed up as a kid, and then all the other music, you know what I'm saying. That's what. So I could never say that I don't like because hip hop. No, I could never say that. Not me. I could never say that because when I grow, like I said, when I growed up, that was, man, I love that music, man. I growed up on the music, I dancing and doing. I ain't gonna say anything else, but and just like R&B, and then I can't. Let me say this: I couldn't even forget before Michael Jackson, the Jacksons, and growing up as a kid, I couldn't do that. Like I don't like. No, I couldn't say that. Yes, I do like. It's just like saying gospel music. I ain't gonna say that. Cause I like to sing, so I ain't gonna say that. I could never say that. I growed up on the soul stir, cause I mean, like I said, in this house, my mom and dad, when it came to gospel, James Cleveland, Reverend Cleveland, and the Soul Stirrers, and all the rest of them. The Jubilee Hummingbirds, and man, all that. You name any of them groups, all of them. On Sunday morning, all of them. Then go to church, then go grandma and granddad's house, and all that. So but hey, I ain't gonna say I didn't like it. Cause when you when you grow up, you be so accustomed. It ain't like something that you hear that's foreign to you. When you hear something, you don't really just react in such a way like you like or dislike. You just be like, it ain't nothing new to you. So I mean, if you be over your grandma and granddad's house and you hear something, that's normal. That's usual. So I be walking, but that's so when it comes to like and dislike, I don't get into all that. I don't get into all like, just like country music or something. I can be riding in the car and be like, the reaction you get. Like, what you doing? Like, what's wrong? What you doing? or what they call it? Not heavy metal, but some punk rock or something. Be like, wait a minute, wait a minute. Hold on. Like, wait a minute, what's going on? Some rock music, or some music, but I can't say that, like, you get that kind of reaction and be like, man, what the heck? Like, what the is wrong with you touching my radio, man? But when I was growing up, and that's another, man, that's a good point. When I growed up, sometimes on like a urban radio station, I ain't no even say it's just like I can remember hearing Elton John. I'm just being honest. Like Benny in the jazz. It just came to my mind. I'm like, man, when I think about what you call urban radio station, sometimes you be hearing, white artists, and you be hearing it, and you be liking it too. You be liking that too. That's what I was saying about what you like and don't like. sometimes the music that you hear on the urban, like on that radio station, it be white artists, and what you gonna say about like and dislike? You know, you be liking that music, you be singing that music just like you singing everything else, you know, and you be liking it, you be going buying stuff, and you buy their record, you know, their music too. So when it comes to all this like and dislike, you know, that, you know, on that note, but when it comes, you know, that's really why all that sampling, like I said, you know, I can pretty much understand what Prince Roger Nelson was saying. From that point, from my point of view, like when I growed up, people don't, it's almost like you, sometimes people do things for the wrong reason. It's like you didn't like them, or you know, you don't like artists or what, but you just took what they did and just used it. And so, you know, on that, note, you know, trying to take other people's, because, you know, just like you hear somebody sing something and they, you know, like cover somebody's music. But usually, you know, when somebody covers somebody's music, it's because the respect they have. No, I'm serious. It's just like, some, you know, people listen to the radio and you'll hear an artist sing a song that somebody else sung. But usually, the reason why they say it's the respect. You know what I'm saying? It's the respect people have for somebody that influenced them. The influence you have on them was so strong and so positive that they want to sing that song that you sang. You know? And so that's the difference with it when it, you know, sampling and covering something. You know, people usually when you hear somebody do a cover, they covering somebody's music because the respect they have for somebody. Yeah. Oh yeah. You know that they have respect for somebody. And so, like I said, when it comes to what I like and don't like I just said, I really couldn't just say like, you know, I don't like certain music because, like I said, when I growed up, I had gospel influence. I could be riding in the car and somebody else will change that. I'm not gonna react like, man, what the hell is wrong with you? You know, no, I wouldn't react that way because when I hear it, you know, like I hear it, I start singing. You know, I be like, I'm familiar with the songs and with the I can instantly, except, you know, like some of the gospel music today, like, but you know, some of the gospel music, sometimes it just be so familiar to you, it's almost like you singing along. It's just like just like I was listening to, you know, some funk music or anything, I be singing along with it. You know, because I'm so used to it, I'm so accustomed to it, and, you know. So you wouldn't get that kind of reaction, and don't let it be the soul stirred off. You know, if I was riding in the car, I'm just gonna let you know ahead of time. If I was riding in the car and you thought you were gonna try to play a prank on me, and I was sitting there, and you'd be like, watch this. I'm gonna get in the car, and I'm gonna change the radio station, and I'm gonna just sit there. I'm gonna put it on some gospel music. Yeah, play something that the soul stir. Yeah. Matter of fact, some of that R.H. Harris way back. What you don't know, what you don't know is that I start singing along. I start singing along with it. You'd be like, man, what the hell is wrong with him? You know. But so don't try to prank, man. Don't try, especially when it comes to soul stir. Whatever you do, don't put the soul stir on. No. No, maybe some, like some of the ones today, I might not actually know all the words, but I ain't got no problem with gospel music, not like that. No, I like gospel music, and because I don't have that opinion of gospel. Gospel music is near to my heart. It's one of the things I believe in. So don't even think you're gonna get that kind of reaction, and then don't even think you're gonna get that kind of reaction. No, all you gotta do is see the earrings. You see the earring. You see the necklace. You will not. That's not the reaction you're gonna get. No. Maybe with some punk rock, you might be like, man, what the hell is wrong with you, man? What the hell? Maybe, just maybe you might get that kind of like, what the hell is wrong with you, man? What the radio station on some punk rock for? Or some folk. You just made me think about this movie, man. And it was some folk music. Dadgummit. What's the name of that doggone movie? Man, I can't think of the name of that movie, man. Hold on. Okay. Now, okay. You made me think about that movie. It had a lot of folk, folk music and stuff like that. Like if I was riding in the car and talking about, oh boy, well, it was this George Clooney movie, and I had to go and find it. But you remember that movie, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? and some of the folk music. Now you might get a strange look on it. Like what's wrong with you? Okay, you might get that kind of look. What's wrong with you? Ain't never your face like that, man. I'm in here listening to the Soul Stirrers. What's wrong with you? They got the doggone CD playing. You done changed it. I got the Soul Stirrer CD. That's even worse. I done went and got the Soul Stirrer CD with Sam. The Soul Stirrers featuring Sam Cooke. They got the CD playing. And you done mess around and change it to some folk music. Like, what is wrong? What time is it? Okay. Okay. Before I end today's video, the last 30 minutes, like I said, I'm working on, I am going to say this. Like I said, when you have an idea, man, you don't never say that, like, you can't do something. I can. Well, my main thing is don't let nobody go behind your back and lie. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I didn't do. That's what I didn't do. And so, like I said, when today being my birthday, this is the point where I'm making sure that's what I didn't do, and that's what I don't do. Is that I'm still got my mind, on what I want to accomplish in life and what I want to achieve in life. So that's what I'm gonna do. So, in the past, see, like this microphone stand and this microphone, I didn't just do, that for nothing. The amplifier, I didn't do that just for nothing. My keyboard in the back, I might not, be proficient, but I had a good reason to do that. And so it's the same thing, because I got my mind, first of all, on something positive, trying to achieve a goal in life and trying to accomplish a goal in life. And so, but when it comes to singing, like I said, there's something that, started like a lot of people, like we all, when it comes to singing, like being at home and listen to the radio, you know what I'm saying? And just, singing on that, from that, when it comes to singing and when it comes to music, period. You always, listening to what other people doing things in nature. You know, I did a music video, and you know, I had my mind on doing something, but I had, you know, various reasons for doing something at that time, and it's still, it's still something that I'm able to do, but you know, I had to do things in a way that they coincide with what I want to do. You know, but it's something, you know, it's something that I still can do, and there's a way, you know, like that old saying, there's a way to do things, you know, and so I ain't gonna say I ain't, but what I am gonna say is that, like I said, it's a way to do something, including with singing and things and things. So it's something that I ain't gonna just throw to the side like rap. No, you don't throw nothing to the side. It's just I have a way of doing things in such a way that it'll make, you know, it's I'm gonna do it in a way that it fits into singing, and you know, not do too much this and not too much of that, but it's a way that you do something, and that's the point I want to make when it comes to like what you call rap or rhyming, because as far as I'm concerned, I know a lot of people. Sometimes you hear people words sound the same, and so that's really what I was saying, is that ain't really just nothing new. People rhyme all the time, you know, and so that's really what I was you know, is that people rhyme all the time, and so that's what I was getting at when what you call rap is what people been doing for a long time, is rhyming. That's the truth. People been saying words that sound alike for years, for a long time, you know. But before I end today's video, a man named Sonny Boy Williamson, they consider him to be like one of the greatest harmonica players ever. And so like, you know, being inspired, you know what I'm saying, he inspired me. So like I said today, I'm gonna have to move my microphone stand. So like I said today, before I end today's video, like I said, I was inspired by Sonny Boy Williamson. And so before I end today's video, me being a beginner, I'm gonna say, let me say this. Me being a beginner, I'll never be on Sonny Boy Williamson level. But like I said, he inspired me. So that and so what I did when it got me a harmonica. And so now that harmonica, let me say this. Sonny Boy Williamson now that harmonica that Sonny Boy Williamson used was a Honer. Was one of them Honer harmonicas. Like I said, one of them Honer, H-O-H-N-E-R, H-O-H. It was one of them Honer. I think it was a Marine band harmonica. And so, only thing about it, now they had, like a beginner like myself, they had a Honer, the Special 20. Now, I could have got it, but me being a beginner, I was like, well, you you're a beginner, so you ain't got to try to style like that, at this point in time. You're a beginner, so you get the beginner, you get the beginners you ain't gotta be like, looking around like people looking at me all funny. No, look, you're a beginner, so but and then now one of the things that I learned about the harmonica, you have to learn about the way the harmonica made, and when Sonny Boy Williamson was playing the harmonica, the Marine band harmonica, sometimes the way it was made, it was the way it was made, because that's a good harmonica company, but that particular harmonica, when you play it can like it's rough on the lips. That's the reason, But now that Special 20 is not the same thing. Now, even if you was a beginner, you know, that Honor Special 20, you know, that, you know, and then you got the Fender, you got a harmonica. So like I said, Fender has a, you know, a harmonica. The blue, you know, the Blues Deluxe, which is a good, you know, based on, you know, information, based on my research. You know, if you're gonna get a harmonica for myself as well as others who are beginners, one of the harmonicas that they recommended is the Fender Blues Deluxe. And like I said, the Honor Special 20 is another harmonica that is recommended for a beginner like myself. So, and then there's another one. Now they got these harmonicas like the Lee Oscar harmonicas, and you know, like I said, me being a beginner, you know, you don't want to be spending your money. That's one of the things that some, you know, people be like, when you're a beginner, don't put too much emphasis on trying to spend money, you know, because you're a beginner. You know, learn how to, you know, progress from being a beginner to, you know, when you become a little more proficient, and then you've been to save up. By that time, you've been to save up some money where you can buy you another, you know, harmonica, you know. But another harmonica that was recommended by a lot of, like I said, I did my research. You know, they got a lot of YouTube videos, and a lot of the people that, you know, they pretty proficient. You know, they pretty knowledgeable about harmonicas. You know, they pretty skilled. They know what they talking about. Was the East Top harmonica, and it was recommended. It was recommended by a lot of people. They recommended. They say, hey, look, this harmonica, hey, we recommend that harmonica. You know, you can get that. You're a beginner, you can get that harmonica. So I said, well, let me do some research on these different harmonicas. You know, and so, and when it came down to it, I was like, you know what? Me being a beginner, that's what, you know, get you a harmonica, you know. So that's what I did. I got the East Top. You know, it's the East Top 10-hole diatonic. The East Top 10-hole diatonic harmonic. So, you know, so like I said, when it, you know, being a beginner, you know, hey, it's highly recommended by professional, you know, people that, you know, respectable people that play the harmonica. I was like, well, it's, you know, get done. And so, like I said, I wanted to do today's video, and before I end, you know, my video today, So like I said, I went ahead and purchased me a harmonica, and the harmonica that I purchased is the East Top 008K blues harmonica. So like I said, before I end today's video, I would just want to do a little something before I end today's video, because you know these are things that I'm gonna be doing. So you know, and let me say this, you know, like I said, when we go online, you know, today we got YouTube videos and you know, online, you know, and people pretty knowledgeable. So, you know, just like harmonica.com, or, you know, there's a lot of other that I be paying attention to. And so, like I said, before I end today's video, I'm just gonna do a little something. And but from now on, you know, this is gonna be the thing that I'm gonna be working on, and this is what I'm gonna be working on, and things, you know. Now, by me being a beginner, you know, the C harmonica. All beginner lessons are in C. So like I said, I'm gonna be working on. I'm a beginner. I'm a beginner. But I ain't gonna always be a beginner. I'm not gonna always be a beginner, but you got to start somewhere. You gotta have to start. So it might sound a little shaky right now. But with practice, I'm gonna move from being a beginner, to more proficient. Now I know I ain't no, be on the level of Sonny Boy Williams, but and Lil Walt, but he was another one, was a good harmonica player. But like I said, I'm a beginner, so keep practicing and just keep working on my goals and trying to achieve and accomplish, what I want to do in life. So, but I'm gonna get ready to end today's video. But like I said, that was one of my main reasons for doing my video today. Here it is, my birthday weekend, and from this point on, I'm really, working on, on my music and things of this nature, and going to the next stage, So just keep working, and I'm gonna keep motivating myself, keep being motivated, and not being deterred, or not being, not being, being discouraged and nothing like that. No, but like I said, just keep working on it, and that's what I'm gonna be doing from this point on. Just working on achieving and accomplishing my goal. So again, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. We're out here in the city of Memphis, in the county sheriff, in the state of Tennessee. I thank my fans, my support, for your continued courage support, and thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, for all the blessings and the guidance He provides us all with. And continue to pray about these natural disasters, and continue to pray about these wars that are being fought, and just continue to pray. Just pray. And I'm gonna come back on my next video, and like I said, I'm gonna say this before I just push the stop button. When it comes to singing and everything, one of the groups that I like, and like I said, before I got sick and everything, and had to have a trach and all that kind of stuff, the Temptations, like Eddie Kendricks and everything, things like that. That's the reason why all that liking and disliking, I don't really just get into all that, because it's a lot of, artists and groups that I like, including women, a lot like the Supremes and, Shaka Khan, and, I can listen going on and on and on. I go on, and Betty Wright, and, man, we be sitting here, we'd be sitting here next week, and we would still be talking about who we like and all the art names and all the artists, But, like, for example, Eddie Kendrick and Temptation had that song, The Girl's Alright, part of the song, that's not the title of the song, but, the girl's alright with me. Dum, dum, Eddie Kendrick and everything, and, Eddie Kendrick was the one singing, it's just my imagination, and so, and then, the Christmas song, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. That was Eddie Kendrick being on the lead at that time, So, going to just, continue to work on it and work on achieving my goals and accomplishing my goals. So, until next time, you take care of yourself, and I wish each and every one of you